Hello everyone and welcome to my video today on gardening and some hot tips to prevent you guys getting injured going into the gardening season. Now to me, gardening is very similar to a sport in the way that it's seasonal. We tend to have 3-4 months out of the game and then go back to it, full on. Now the difference with a sport, we tend to have a pre-season. So we warm up, we train to get ready to adapt to the game environment. In many cases, and what I find with my patient, the sun's come out and whack straight on the garden for 3-4 hours at a time, and they're into the clinic after causing themselves a mischief. So I'm going to give you some hot tips today. Really simple, but just try and adhere to these over the summer, and let's try and prevent some of those injuries occurring. The first thing, check your alignment with your chiropractor. 24 vertebrae and 2 sacral joints should be in perfect alignment. They should be working normally, and the better they are aligned, the more chance you can go into that garden and prevent yourself doing an injustice. The second one, related to the spine again, let's get core strong. Now, we go back to that sport analogy, and the reality is we should be doing the core work and the strengthening in the off season, ready to go in the gardening season. It's not done that way. Now the core is continually getting weak day after day due to the sedentary lifestyles we lead today. So the core work has to be something that's meticulous and done every single week of our lives to maintain the core strength, and if we can, get on top of it and really get it strong and stable. A really simple exercise I like and I'm obsessed with because it works those little muscles in the spine is called the dead bug exercise. I'm going to demonstrate that one for you today. So, don't do this first thing in the morning. Make sure you're properly warmed up. So afternoon and evening is perfect. And what I want you guys to do is just lie on your back. Make sure the knees are bent. And then with the pelvis, I want you to rotate it backwards. So essentially you're pushing your back actually into the floor. If you do this on the floor, you're naturally then pulling the belly button. So you'll contract the muscle under the abdominal called a transverse abdominis. Plus you'll be working the little muscles in the spine called multifidi. When you're in that position, essentially you shouldn't be able to speak because you should be working really hard here. Make sure there's no strain and load on the neck and you're not lifting your head to create that push into the bench. It should all be done with the pelvis. And what I'd like you guys to do is actually hold that position for 30 seconds at a time. Once you've completed the 30 seconds, have a good 30 seconds to a minute rest, and then repeat that exercise and do the same again. So essentially we're doing 3 sets of 30 seconds with about 30 seconds to a minute break in between each one. Now I advise when you're starting off, you do this every other day, just to get the back used to working and training those little muscles in the spine. But it's a great exercise to stabilize the alignment of the spine. The third tip, guys, is about looking after technique in the garden. And I always look at people when they're digging or pushing a lawnmower, and I see a lot of these rounded spines. So we talked about alignment with the back, but you can imagine if you're pushing down on the spade or pushing the lawnmower that way, we're losing our curves completely in the back. So make sure you maintain a nice upright posture when you're using the lawnmower, and with a spade when you're using it or a hoe, make sure everything is straight. You're not twisting in any way, and the most important factor, use your lower body weight to actually put the force through the spade. So don't be pushing down with the upper body, put the spade in and then use the foot to push down, and you can maintain a good posture while you do that. Obvious stuff, but when you're pot planting or you're doing your hanging baskets, don't bend over to do it on the floor. Make sure you lift them onto the table. First off, when you're lifting, make sure we've got a nice straight back, and use the legs in a squatting action and lift. And then place that on the table, and when it's on the table, either sit or make sure you're standing in a nice straight position so you're not leaning, and you can do the work comfortably without injuring yourself. One tip: before you start the gardening, you go into the garden, make sure you warm up. This is something we always do in sport, and again, we forget to do it in gardening. It's essential. The body needs a warm up before you do that activity. And I always advise the simple rotation exercises. We can get all the spine working normally just by rotating the spine in certain positions and getting fluid through the discs and the joints to make sure you're nice and supple before you start. So when you get onto the garden, stand nice and square and just rotate the body. Hold that for 10 seconds, come back to center and slowly go the other way and repeat the same exercise. 3 times 10 seconds both sides. And don't forget, the spine works together. So let's do the neck as well. So when we turn the head, we turn fully without moving the shoulders and we hold for a 10-second period, back to center. And do that 3 times 10 seconds each side again. Makes a big difference, okay? And once you finish the garden, the final tip is make sure you ice pack. When we're working, when we're playing sport, if we've got any back problems, knee problems, ankle injuries, then the natural process if something's damaged is inflammation to repair it. So after the gardening, just put an ice pack on. Make sure you cover the ice with something thinner than a tea towel and hold for about 15 minutes. That will just reduce the inflammation and take any soreness away from the area. And if you are in doubt, then see the chiropractor first. Come and see us at Ridgeway Health and Wellness and we can check you over and make sure you're fit for the gardening season. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any questions, please give us a call or ask us in clinic. Take care everyone. Safe gardening.